Today's daf, Be'ezras Hashem, is Masechta Sanhedrin Daf Yud Dalet, right? Yud Dalet.
You tell it.
Dalet. So we're going to start from Daf Yud Gimel and Beis, about the third, 2/3 of the way down. Tona, the Brisa, we learned in the Brisa. Tona, we learned in the Brisa, Smicha Usmicha Zakenim Begimel. So we can learn that you need to make smicha on an animal of a parhelim davashut tzibur, but that we discussed yesterday. But the smicha that you also need in order to make to give ordination for somebody to become a rebbe, that needs 3 dayanim to bequeath smicha to somebody. Now, this smicha is not the smicha that you get in yeshiva. This smicha existed at the time of the Tanoim, Amoraim, all the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu gave smicha to Yeshua. Yeshua gave to the Zakenim. Zakenim gave to the Nevi'im, Anshe Knesset Gdola, up to the Tanoim, Amoraim, and then sort of it petered out. We don't have real musmachim today, but once you had that magical smicha, you were able to paskin dine knossos, which means like you could do penalties that are written in the Torah, like tashlumi. You could paskin on tashlumi kefil and oines mafata. So the Gemara says the Brisa says smichas kanim begimel. To do smicha and smichas kanim, you need 3 dayanim. My smichas kanim. What does that mean? Rabbi Yochanan misbach savi, to make somebody into a rebbe, to have him called as a rebbe, you need 3 dayanim to give him smicha. Like there were many Amoraim that did not have smicha, like Ben Azai, Ben Zoima, Shimon Ben Zoima. They weren't called rebbe. But we'll learn. Let's say Rabbi Meir got smicha. Rabbi, that's why they call him Rabbi. Amalei Abayla of Yosef. How do you know you need 3 people? How do you know you need 3 dayanim to give the smicha? It's not enough one rabbi gives the smicha, but to give this smicha, you need 3 of the rabbanim. It says by Moshe Rabbeinu that he gave smicha to Yehoshua. So if that's the case, maybe then only one person can give smicha. If I'm a musmach, I can give it to somebody else. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu gave it to somebody else, gave it to Yeshua. It should be one, should be enough. If you're going to say to the other extreme, Moshe is equal in stature to the 71 of the Sanhedrin. Moshe in his one body had 71 Sanhedrin within him. So then, in order to give somebody smicha, you should need 71 people, 71 dayanim to give smicha. Kasha, this is a very good question. We don't know why precisely that Chachamim gave the rules of smicha that it has to be done in front of 3 people. And of course, one of them has to be a musmach himself. Does when we give smicha to make somebody into a rebbe, does the nismach have to have his hands? You have to put your hands on that person? Amalei. So Rav Ashi answered Rav Acha, no. Even though it says in the Chumash that Moshe gave smicha with his hands onto Yeshua, but that was to infuse Yeshua with certain like nuvuah powers or ruach hakodesh. But here, in regular, some chalei bishma, we always make smicha with his name. Kari le Rabbi, we call him Rebbe. V'yavalei reshusei lemeidin dine knossos, and that's the point. We give him permission now to be a judge regarding knas matters, penalty matters. Says the Gemara, v'chad loy samich. The Gemara says, and here's a beautiful, beautiful story. With one rabbi cannot give the smicha to another rabbi. With one, he needs 3 people with him. Rabbi Yehuda said the name of Rav Baram. Let's in heaven, we're going to always remember this person that did something great. What's his name? Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava Shmai. His name is Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. If it wasn't for Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, nishtachu dine knossos misrael, then we would have totally forgotten anybody. We wouldn't have any musmachim to paskin dine knossos. It would have totally been forgotten. We would have forgot how to paskin nigra sinhu. Let us learn. Ella, no, what we mean is, and this is exactly how I explain it. Batlu, we go to Yudal Rabban Aleph. Batlu dine knossos mi Yisrael. It would have been fell to the wayside. Dine knossos. Nobody would have. We wouldn't have any person with the license, the ordination anymore. He sacrificed his life to give ordination. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava had ordination, a smicha, and he was the only one that was able to give it. Why? Shepam achas, there was this one time, Gazar Malchus Harashah Shmad al Yisrael. They wanted everybody to convert. It was the time of, I guess, the Romans, not the Yavanim, that they wanted to not to destroy the religion of the Jewish people. And they made a rule, Shekol HaSoymech, whoever gives smicha, Yehirak, he'll be killed. V'chol HaNisbach, the one that received smicha, Yehirak, he will be killed. And it's a collective punishment. It's like the Nazis, the city that this event took place, apparently it was like a party in that city, Techarav will be destroyed, and all the surrounding areas will be uprooted. It's not just that we're going to destroy the city, there's a collective punishment if there's a smicha given. So we had, all of a sudden, if you're not going to be able to give the smicha anymore, then there'll be no dayanim anymore. Ma'asa Yehuda ben Bava. What did Yehuda ben Bava do? Halach v'yashav lebein shnei harim gedolim. He sat between two mountains so nobody can see him. Bein shtei ayoras gedolim, between two cities so they won't be destroyed if he's caught. Bein shnei tchum Shabbos, between two, in between the tchum Shabbos, so he's not near any city. Bein Usha l'Shafram. He stayed by this place Usha l'Shafram. That's where he was located. That was the secret place. And he gave smicha there to 5 elders. The Eluhain, following are the people that got smicha from Yehuda ben Bava. Reb Meir, Reb Yehuda, Reb Shimon, Reb Yossi, Reb Loza ben Shamua. Those are the 5 people he gave smicha to. Reb Avia Moisef, Afram Nechemya. Even Reb Nechemya got smicha at that secret ordination. Oh, but you never. For some reason. Every good plan could fall away. Since the enemies recognized them, they found out that there was smicha given, and they were going to kill Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. Amar he told his students, "Benui, my children, Rutzi, run away." Amar so they said to him, "Rabbi, what's going to happen to you?" Amalei, he says to them, I'm going to be like them, like a stone that has nobody to turn it over. In other words, I'll hold my ground. There's nothing. I'm not going to feel anything. Whatever's going to happen to me is going to happen to me. But you at least could save your life. Amru, they said, they didn't leave. The Romans didn't leave the place where Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava was caught giving smicha. They stabbed him with 300 stab wounds from a metal sharp instrument, and they made his body look like a sieve. So therefore, here ends the question. But he's one of the Hasara Ruge Malchus. But anyway, here ends the question. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava gave the smicha alone. So how could you say that you need 3 people? We see in this story that Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava gave the smicha alone. And says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava achrina hanebadei. He had other people with him. The fact that we don't count them is because we want to give honor to Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, but there was 2 other people with him. Now the Gemara just asks a side point to finish the story. Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, he got smicha from Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava. That's how Rabbi Meir got the smicha. Rabbi Yochanan said, whoever says that Rabbi Meir did not get smicha for Rabbi Akiva is making a mistake, because Rabbi Akiva was the one that gave Rabbi Meir smicha. So how could you say Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava gave smicha? Rabbi Yochanan said Rabbi Akiva gave smicha to Rabbi Meir. And says the Gemara, Samache Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva originally gave him smicha. And Reb Meir was a young man, v'loy kiblu, and he wasn't accepted. For some reason, people felt that the smicha was a mistake. Rabbi Kiva should not have given smicha to Rabbi Meir. And therefore, he took the smicha test again, and Samcha Rabbi Huda Baba, he got smicha from Rabbi Huda Baba, the kiblu, and people started to accept Rabbi Meir as being Rabbi Meir. Gemara discusses other matters relating to the smicha. Smicha obviously was a smicha, and you got the smicha, and you could paskin dine knossos, but you could move anywhere. If you got the smicha, you can move to Bavel and open up a court and paskin dine knossos in Bavel. But where do you get this smicha? Amar Rabbi Shua ben Levi, ein smicha ela b'chutz laaretz. You can't give smicha in outside. It has to be the program and the ordination and the procedure of the ordination had to be done in Eretz Yisrael. Could not be done in chutz laaretz. My ain't smicha. What did Rabbi Shua ben Levi says? There's no smicha in chutz laaretz. Email the don dini knossos klal b'chutz laaretz. Did Rabbi Shua ben Levi says that you can't be a musmach in chutz laaretz in Bavel? Vaha. Now we learned in the Mishnah, Sanhedrin, Neheges bein baaretz. A Sanhedrin can be in Israel, ubein b'chutz laaretz, even in outside Israel. And you could paskin dine knossos tashlume kefil in New York. You don't have to be in Israel. Ella, you don't get the license only if you went to Israel. The loisem chinam b'chutz laaretz. We don't give the smicha in chutz laaretz. You have to be in Israel to get the smicha. So pshita, that's very simple. That if someone has the license already, and he cannot even give a license to somebody in chutz laaretz, in Eretz Yisrael. Soimchim b'chutz laaretz, v'nismochem ba'aretz ha'amrin deloy. If a person wants to give smicha to somebody and he's in outside Israel, even if the person that he wants to give smicha right now is in Israel, and he calls him on the phone and says, "I want to give you smicha," and he calls Israel, that doesn't work. Ella, the question over here is, again, basic question is, do you have to be right up front of the person giving you the smicha? Perhaps he could send the shliach. Let's say, Ella, for example, this is the question of the Gemara. The guy that's giving the smicha, the Tana that's giving the smicha is in Israel. But the person receiving the smicha, he's in chutz laaretz. He's outside of Israel. What's the halacha in that point? Right? What's the halacha? Do you have to be right in front? Do you have to make the trip to Israel to be in front of the person giving you the smicha? Or the person giving you the smicha must be in Israel, but you could be in outside Israel. Tashma, come in here. 3 stories. The Rabbi Yochanan have a mistar alei, the Rav Shimon bar Abba loy have a gabei l'smechei. Rabbi Yochanan was very in pain that Rav Shimon bar Abba, who is a great Talmud Chacham, that never came to Israel, so Rabbi Yochanan could give him smicha. Maybe they corresponded by letter or whatever, but Rabbi Yochanan wanted to give him smicha. But because Rabbi Shimon didn't come to Rabbi Yochanan who lived in Israel, that's why he did not get them smicha. Another story. Rabbi Shimon ben Zered v'chad de'imei. Rabbi Shimon ben Zered, and he had another person with him. Uman Rabbi Yonasan ben Achmai. Okay, so Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Yonasan, those 2 people. V'amilei was the reverse. Rabbi Yonasan ben Achmai v'chad de'imei uman Rabbi Shimon ben Zered. But what the point over here is that one got the smicha and one did not get the smicha. We don't know which one. The one that went to Rabbi Yochanan's office, let's say went to Israel and visited Rabbi Yochanan, samchu. Rabbi Yochanan gave him smicha. The ones that didn't go visit Rabbi Yochanan, loy samchu, did not get the smicha. So we see that you have to go mamish up to the Israel to get the smicha. Says the Gemara, Rab Knida, Rab Oishia have a megashtaket, Rabbi Yochanan mismachei. Rabbi Knida and Rabbi Oishia actually visited Rabbi Yochanan, and they wanted Rabbi Yochanan to give him smicha. Lo have mestaya milsa, but there was no mazel. Siyata deshmaya, Rabbi Yochanan could not find people to help him give the smicha. We learned that you need, and the way Rashi learns that you need actually Rabbi Yochanan, who was a musmach, but he had to find other 2 musmachim to be part of a bezdin to give Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Shai smicha, and he couldn't find anybody. So Rabbi Yochanan could not give them the smicha, although he wanted to give Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Shai. Havakam etztayer too. Rabbi Yochanan was distressed about it. He wants to give them smicha, but he doesn't have partners to help him give the smicha to Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Shai. Amru lei, so that Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Shai told Rabbi Yochanan, "Let's stamar. You shouldn't feel too upset about it." Because we know why we're not getting the smicha. Danam the base Eli kasid. We come from the house of Eli. Those kahanim that come from the family of Eli cannot get a smicha. Shinema, the pasuk says that I guess it was he was the Navi gave a klala to Eli's family, and one of the things is like there's nobody going to be old in that house. That means no one's going to live so long. My zaken, it certainly already said that they're gonna that as soon as they get to adulthood they're gonna die. So why certainly they're not going to be old. So what does it mean? Ela smicha. It means like this, that sometimes the base Eli people, if you came from the family, normally you died young. But if you were Isaac and Torah and Gemilas Chasadim, like Abaya did, the Gemara says, so then you Zeicha somewhat to Arichas Yomim. And despite being Zeicha to Arichas Yomim, the Pasuk says, Lo Yeh Zakim Beveischa, they can never call you Zeh Kana Chachma. They cannot give you the smicha. So there's a Pasuk that says that from the base Eli, they'll not be able to get the smicha. Says the Gemara that not every rabbi wanted to get the smicha. Rab Zera have a metamal mismachei. He was hiding. He wanted to avoid. They wanted to give him smicha, but he wanted to avoid the whole thing. Ah, ah. Rabbi Elazar said, a person should be, hidden away, and then you'll be able to survive. In other words, taking on the job of being a rabbi brings about an early death. So therefore, Rabbi Zera didn't want this whole Rabbanus business. When he heard the following teaching of Rabbi Lazar, when he heard that as soon as you get them smicha, you get an automatic mechilas avonos, you get the forgiving of all your sins, like a person who gets married, all of a sudden all his sins are forgiven. So then he made himself available to get the smicha. When they gave smicha to Rabbi Zera, they made the following sing. They made a following song about him. Like kachal v'loy shrak v'loy pirkas. He doesn't need any eye makeup, any cheek makeup, anything that enhances his face. V'yalas chen, and nevertheless, he's still very attractive. Rabbi Zera he had immense integrity, and therefore he was an attractive person. They used to make a song, they make a song when they finish a Gemara, you make a song. So they make a song by the smicha ordination. When they made the smicha for Rab Amir Rabasi, Sharli Hachi, they made the following song. Kol Mindain, Lina. These type of people are worthy to get the smicha. Like Tismachu Lano Loy Masar Mitin, we don't want people who can't explain themselves well. Loy Masar Misin, some people who not only can't explain themselves well, they're so convoluted, incoherent. They turn things around. Or people are too quiet. They hold things back. Or people who have nothing on their head. They're empty people. We need people who are quality people to get these smicha. That was the song that they sang about him. Once the Gemara talks about songs, the Gemara just brings one point, a final point. Rabbi Abo, Rabbi Abo was a big tzaddik, and he was a big, great person. Also, he had dealings in politics. When he would come to the house of the Caesar, Nafki Matrunusi de Bekezer Umashayin Lay. The women from the house of the Caesar would come out and sing about him. Rabba da Ame, he's the rabbi of his teacher. Medamara de Umse, he's not only a Hebrew teacher, a Talmud Chacham, but he's also the leader of the people as far as politics is concerned. But Tzina de Nahara, he shines like a lamp. His face is illuminated. Because he's also a very handsome person. Besides, he probably had it all. He was a good Talmud Chacham. He was a powerful person, and he had charisma and a handsome face. Brich Messiah l'Shalom. Your coming should be as you come into the house of the Caesar. You should come in. It should all be in peace. Says the Gemara back into the sugya of the Mishnayos. The Mishnah says Arifas Egla Bishloisha. To measure, this is the point. When you find a dead body and you don't know who killed the person, and he's somewhere stuck in the middle of nowhere's land, the Torah says you measure that body to where the closest city is to that dead body, and they're responsible for bringing it arufa. So the Mishnah says that this measuring had to be done with three people from the Sanhedrin, the main court in Israel. Tana Rabbanim, Yatsu Zekinecha v'Shavtecha, Zekinecha Shnaim, Shavtecha Shnaim, Ve'im Be'ez Shacham Masifin Lo Echad Harei Kan Chamisha de Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda argues on the Mishnah, and Rabbi Yehuda holds that you actually need five. Right? Because he darshans from a pasuk, Zekinechas two, Sheftechas two, and since you can't have an equal bezdin, so you need five people from the Sanhedrin in the Beis Hamikdash to do the measuring. Rab Shimon Zekinechas Shnayim, Bein Bez L'Shokam Masifin Aleim Oid Echad. He says that you need three, because the Torah says Zekinecha, which is plural, and we never have a court that's made of an even number, so again, it's three. Machlekes. Harikei Shloisha. Says the Gemara of Shimon, Hai Sheftecha Mai Obed Late. What does Rav Shimon do with this Sheftecha? Shouldn't it be an extra two? Shouldn't you need five, like Rabbi Yehuda said? That's the one, that's the pasuk that teaches you that it's not any person. You need somebody unique of the judges, somebody from the Supreme Court of the Jewish people. So that's what I need that pasuk. Rabbi Yehuda, Beziknei Zekinecha Nafkel. He learns it from Ziknei Zekinecha. The extra word, Zekinecha, with the chaf, that teaches you that it has to be somebody who's on the Supreme Court. Rab Shimon would not learn it from there. If it just says Ziknei, Havamina Ziknei Meshuk, I would think a regular old person. That's why Kasrachmon Zekinecha, it has to be somebody who is a dayan. But how do I know? Because if I would only think that it's a somebody who's on the Chaf Gimel Dayanim, not somebody on the Supreme Court. So that's why Rab Shimon needs the word v'shavtecha to teach you it has to be somebody from the Supreme Court. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Huda, Gama Ziknei Samchu Ziknei Eida Esidei Malahad Michudim Sheida Avkam Michudim Sheida. Rabbi Yehuda had somehow the Gemara thought that there's a Gzeir Shava that I know, just like by Parahelim Davar Shatziba, you need somebody from the Supreme Court to do the smicha. So also by Egla Rufa, you need somebody from the Supreme Court. So it's a Gzeir Shava. So the Gemara says, if Rabbi Yehuda indeed had a Gzeir Shava, let it completely learn it from over there, from Par Helam Davar Shatziba, that you need Miyuchadem, that you need somebody from the speaker. So the Gemara answers like this. This is the point. Both Rabbi Yehuda doesn't have a Gzeir Shava. So how does he know? From the Shaftecha, that teaches you that you need somebody from the Supreme Court. But Vav, the extra Vav of a Shaftecha, that teaches you that you need two people from the Supreme Court. And then you have Zekinecha for another two people from the Supreme Court. And therefore, in Bezdin Shakal, that's why you need five. So the Vav teaches you Liminyona that you add two people. Elameata, and Shimon doesn't darshan the Vav. So Elamiyata, the Gemara says like this. We go just a little further. Vav. Rab Shimon doesn't darshan the Vav. Elamiyata, says the Gemara, V'yatzu Shnayim, Madadu Shnayim, Rabbi Yehuda. There's extra plural words in the pasuk. Karei Kantisha, Rab Shimon Shiva. It says V'yatzu and Madadu. They should go out and they should measure. So if you can always adding two for every time it says plural, then according to Rabbi Yehuda, you should need 9, 2 more, 4 more, and according to Rab Shimon, you should need 4 more, which you need 7. And says the Gemara, we need v'yatzu to teach you other ideas. Hein v'loy shluchav, that they themselves have to go out. They can't send a messenger. The people on the Supreme Court can't send a messenger to do the measuring. Umadadu shafil nimso. We go to Amabeis. Ba'alil le'ir tzarich l'asach b'medida. That even if we find that it's so clearly closer to one city, the Bezdin has to go out and do the measuring. So basically, the bottom line is, we have a machlekes. How many people from the Supreme Court have to come out to do the measuring? According to Rab Shimon, 3, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, 5. Says the Gemara, another 2 minutes and then we'll stop. Masnisin deloika haitana. Our Mishnah does not go like this following Tana. The Tanya we learn to Raisa, Rab Lezer ben Yaakov Omer, V'yotzuz kenech v'shavtecha zeknech zu Sanhedrin, Shavtecha zem melech v'kohen gadol. Rab Lezer ben Yaakov said, not only do the Sanhedrin, the Supreme Court, have to come out, but the king himself has to come out and do the measuring, and the kohen gadol. Melech t'ksiv melech b'mishpat yamid. Aretz kohen gadol ksiv v'osel kaim elvim el hashayfeit, to the kohen gadol. So Shavtecha refers to and first to the Kohen Gadol. So Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov held that our Mishnah, he argues on our Mishnah. Our Mishnah just says Supreme Court needs to do the measuring. And Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov says, yeah, the king himself has to go out to that dead body and the Kohen Gadol to do the measuring. So now the question is, the Gemara asks one last question. Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, b'chad plaga, b'tati plaga, b'melech, a Kohen Gadol palan, does Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov just require the king and the Kohen Gadol? But regarding how many people of the Supreme Court, he could either hold 3 or 5. Or Dilma, but Sanhedrin Ami Paleg, the Alma Kula Sanhedrin Be'ina. So does Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov go even further? And he requires all 71 members to come out to that dead body. Amar Rav Yosef Tashma Matzona. The Brisa says Matzona base Pagi v'Himra Lein Yochot Heim Ros Amra Tamlam Kante Elisa El Hamokoim Melamed Shamokim Garim. Now, it's talking about a Zaken Mamre that somehow found the entire court outside the Beis HaMikdash, and he rebelled against them. But the point is, how is it possible to have the entire court, the entire Supreme Court, located outside the Beis HaMikdash? The Nafakama, El Pshita, the Nafakula, they all went. So in other words, what the Brisa says that it's possible that the entire Sanhedrin came out to do one big mitzvah. Hey Chidami, what mitzvah were they doing? Lav lemedidas egla, Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, he damakula Sanhedrin be'inim. From that brisa, you have a proof that Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov, that brisa goes according to Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov. And where's a case that you have the entire Sanhedrin located not in the Beis HaMikdash, but located in a certain place, and all of them are there? That must be they went to do the measuring of the Egla Rufa. So we see Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov holds that all of Sanhedrin has to be there. So the Gemara concludes, that maybe the whole Bezdin came out because they wanted to increase the city of Yerushalayim, or the Beis HaMikdash, they wanted to add on the space of what's called the Beis HaMikdash, and that's why all 71 were found outside the Beis HaMikdash. But Tanya Kavos Rabbi Yosef, that Rabbi Lezer ben Yaakov holds that not only the king has to go out to measure the Egla Rufa, not only the Kohen Gadol, but the entire 71. Matzah Beis Pag v'Imralen Kegoyin Sheyotzel Medidas Egla L'Hoisev Al Ir Lazarus Yochash Teim Rosa Tamlekam Delil Mokam Elam Shemok Goyim. So we see that this brisa clearly says that if the Bezdin was found outside the Beis HaMikdash to do the measuring of the Egla Arufa, that's how you have a place where the entire court was not found in the Beis HaMikdash, but was found elsewhere doing a job, a mitzvah. So that's we'll stop over here and we'll continue tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem.
Shikoya, thank you.
Where'd you leave off?
By the 2 dots over here. Hold on. Here you go. Hold on. By Tanura bottom. Okay?
By
the last third of the daf.
Hanukkah, Good Chodesh.